Hi, I'm Rachel Namitz. I chose to create my integrated unit plan using my second grade plant unit. Reason I chose to create this unit was because it is something I will use with my second graders this winter. I taught this unit last year already and found that the kids really enjoyed some of the activities I had then, and this year it'll be even a little bit more involved. To start off with this unit, I like having the kids just have the opportunity to think about what they already know about plants. And so last year I had this just be a pencil paper activity. Here is expanded a little bit further that they can type in 3 things that they already know about plants, and then they can do a little bit of a picture search. I created a link for them to kickstart the picture search process so that the pictures that they have an option to look at should be ones that are legal for them to copy and paste into this document. Plus, it also helps narrow it down, make sure I have a safe search on for them so that we don't get anything too random and goofy popping up here. Then I also have a video for them that just, again, gets them thinking about plants, what plants are, how they grow. Another thing we'll get to do is go back to the student book and set up the first demonstration. It's a simple demonstration of putting carnations into food-colored water and see what happens to the petals. Lesson 2 really sets up the unit project. That this project is I really enjoy this project because I allowed the kids to really think about what they know again about plants before we even dig into all of the book stuff. And they discover they already know quite a bit. They know the basic needs of plants, and we can start applying them to seeds that we are going to plant. And so as a whole class, we brainstorm about what they know that plants need. And I want to make sure that in their brainstorming process that they come up with that seeds need soil, water, air, and sunlight to grow. And that's what we'll narrow it down to on this document right here. And then we're going to, as a whole class, set up an experiment where we will plant seeds under different conditions and see what happens to them. And so ultimately, we're going to have 5 cups of seeds. Each cup, the first cup being our control cup with having all the elements that we feel that a seed needs to be successful to grow. And then each of the following cups takes one of those things away. So we'll have 1 cup minus the water. We'll have 1 cup minus the soil. 1 cup that we'll cover with cellophane so it doesn't get any air, and 1 cup that we'll put in a dark closet. We will keep track of these cups and see what happens with the seeds. This year I'm going to have the kids use an iPad to take pictures of their cups. We'll put those into an experiment log that I made with Google Slides so that we can, every time we check them, add these pictures in, and they can have a running log of how the plants are progressing, how the seeds are progressing. Last year I did this all paper pencil. I might pull that out again and have both of them, if they can have the paper pencil one on their own, and then we can have the one on Google Slides that we can look at together, or they can check out on their iPads. The next lesson that we'll be looking at is now getting into the nitty-gritty of what makes a plant. For the CRP that we created earlier this semester, I focused just on that. And so the kids will get to work in small groups looking at the different parts of a plant. They'll get to move some labels around on the parts of a plant to see what they are, and then dig in more deeply as to what they actually do. I have websites linked in, some videos linked in, so that they can get a little more information about the individual parts of plants. And then I chose to focus specifically on flowers because obviously they are a very important part of the plant. This part here, I gave them all the labels already because the focus will be of them taking an actual flower, pulling it apart, and trying to find the sepal, find the petals, find the pollen, find the pistil, so that they can actually see the parts for themselves. The second activity I pulled out special is looking at leaves. This will be another image search that they get to do. I have the links already started there for them so that they can look at various kinds of leaves. And I'm leaving this very open-ended, that they just need to come up with 4 groups of leaves. And I'm going to leave it to them for why they put the leaves in the groups that they did. And so they have to add a label to each of their groups telling me why they put those 2 or 3 leaves together. Why did they put these 2 or 3 leaves together? So that they can see that, yes, all plants have leaves, but not all leaves are the same. And again, looking at the bottom of these pages, that it's a reminder again that they're going to use their iPads, go back to those seed cups for that experiment that they set up at the beginning of the unit so that we can keep seeing what's happening with their seeds under the different conditions. The next lesson they'll look at is at photosynthesis. I found a Magic School Bus video that helps explain it, and then they'll get to go to the picture here, move the words to the different parts for labeling it, and then fill in the blanks again to emphasize the basic steps of photosynthesis, what each part is for, how it all works together. The last main lesson before we get to our wrap up is just looking at the whole life cycle of a plant. I have 3 videos here that takes a plant from seed back around to seed again. And then they'll get to, this one will be a paper pencil one that I'll print out for them, but they'll get to draw pictures themselves, starting with a seed, that seed sprouting, having a flower, and then that flower going to seed, so they can go from seed to seed and see the whole life cycle of a plant. The final lesson in our unit will be wrapping up that seed experiment, and that'll bring everything full circle there as well. That will be reviewing what the important parts of plants are, or their needs of plants. And so they'll get to look at this experiment log, they'll get to look at the ones that they drew themselves, and then they'll get to fill in the blanks here. What happened to our control plant? What happened to the seeds without soil, without light, without air, without water? And give a brief description of each. Which of the seeds sprouted? Which seed grew the most? And then based on what we learned up here, what do seeds need to grow well? That they'll find that some of the seeds sprouted, but not necessarily well. It also was kind of fun when they pulled the one out of the closet to see how much is sprouted, but it's dying, it's real pale. Well, what'll happen to it? And last year the class decided that we should give it a chance and put it in sunlight, and it was neat listening to the kids talk to each other about what they thought would happen to it. Some were just sure that it was going to die anyway, and others, well, maybe sunlight will get it to come back. And so it was fun listening to those discussions among the kids. One of the challenges for me in teaching this unit using the website will be the fact that I have iPads for the kids to use. And so some of these activities lend themselves just fine to iPads. Some get to be a little tricky. I have docking stations I can use that have keyboards, but they don't always sync up very well. So at some point, if we get Chromebooks coming all the way down through the building, that'll make it a little bit easier as well. But I'm excited to use my lesson and see how it works with my second graders this year. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed my site.